Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining me today for this simple, gentle yoga class. I've heard a lot of people lately saying that they're feeling burned out and exhausted, tired of winter, tired of the pandemic, and so this practice is designed with simple, common yoga moves as a way for us to take care of ourselves as we wait for the end of this time to come. We'll use a few props for this practice, a blanket, a couple of blocks, maybe a strap. So take a few moments, gather what you need, and I'll see you on the mat. So we'll just come to seated here today, and you see I've got a blanket here that I'm sitting on. So if you'd like to invite a little blanket onto your mat, you're welcome to do that. And we'll just start by just settling in. And we're just going to start with 3 long, deep breaths today. So inhaling all the way to the top, all the way deep into your belly. And then as you're exhaling, intentionally relax your shoulders down. Take a short pause at the bottom. And then fill your lungs again, inhaling all the way to the top. Letting your belly fully expand, letting your rib cage come out to the sides. And then exhale, releasing those shoulders down. And one last time here, inhaling all the way to the top, breathing into the back body this time, feeling the back body expand, feeling the belly expand. And then exhale, relaxing the shoulders down. And then just return to your normal breathing. And just take a moment here to notice what the body feels like just after taking 3 long, slow breaths. Oftentimes, just 3 breaths is all it takes to help us begin to reset the nervous system and invite in a little calm, a little presence, a little connection to the now. We'll begin just a little gentle movement here. Inhaling the shoulders up to the ears. We'll allow them to hold here for just a moment. And then exhale, bringing the shoulders down the back. Inhaling the shoulders forward and up to the ears and pause. Exhale, shoulders melt down the back. One more time here, inhaling shoulders to ears. Exhale, shoulders down the back. And now moving just one shoulder at a time. Allow yourself to make these circles really big. Drawing a circle with the top of your shoulder. Moving the top of the shoulder up and forward and down and back. You might even twist to the side slightly. Just whatever feels sort of natural here. And now see if you can bring that movement in reverse. So you'll move one shoulder towards the back first, and then allow the shoulder to come forward. And you'll notice that the arm will travel its own sort of natural arc here. So just let that happen. You're at home in your nice home practice, maybe in private with no one watching. So just allow yourself to move in any way here, just to wake up those shoulders. And we'll take this one last time on each side. And then bring that to stillness. You can bring the hands back to the knees here. And we'll just take a nice deep breath, stacking our spines up nice and tall and long. And then just allow yourself to drop your head over to one shoulder. Dropping those shoulders away from the ears. If you'd like to invite in a little more sensation, you might bring the fingertips out to the mat next to you. And from here on an exhale, we're just going to tuck the chin and very slowly bring the crown of the head to center until the chin is tucked into the chest. Just allow the head to remain forward here, stretching the muscles at the back of the neck. Moving the shoulder blades towards each other to allow the front of the chest to stay nice and open here. Take a breath, and on your next exhale, just allow the head to continue its journey over to the other side. So now your ear is dropped towards the other shoulder. And again, if you'd like to bring those fingertips out, you can reach those out now. And we'll take an inhale here. And then as we're exhaling again, tucking the chin to the chest, we'll allow the head to go all the way over to the other shoulder this time. Taking a pause here for an inhale on this side, and then exhaling, chin to chest, moving with the breath. Sometimes in yoga, we will see people doing full circles with the head. It's important to be very careful with the cervical spine and take care of those little neck bones. So we'll just do these forward semicircles here now. And allow yourself to come through one last arc here. And then taking the chin to the chest, bring the hands to heart center. Maybe take just a moment here to reflect and see if there's any intention that you want to bring into your practice today. Could be anything, to be a little kinder to yourself, to be present, to bring attention to the breath, the whole practice, or something else that resonates with you today. And then we'll inhale the head back up. We'll allow those fingertips to come back to the mat next to us. We're going to inhale up through the right arm. And then as we're exhaling, reach up and over, drawing that right hip down towards the mat and the right fingertips up towards the seam of the ceiling and the wall. So really creating some space here in the side body. Inhale here, reaching those fingertips out nice and long. Exhale, fingertips float down. And then we'll inhale up through the left arm. Exhaling as we press that left hip down into the mat.
reaching the fingertips up and over. Inhale, reaching those fingertips out just a little more. Exhale, fingertips come down to the mat. Inhaling both arms up overhead. We'll exhale as we drop over to the left side. In the left hand around behind and the right hand to the left knee. No need to force or strain or sort of crank yourself into this pose here. Just let it be whatever it is, just this gentle twist. And if you like to look over your shoulder just a little more, you can do that. Or it's perfectly fine to just look directly out to the side. And then inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, dropping the hands to the other side. And bring a little awareness here to what's happening with your back hand. Bringing the fingertips to the floor in a tented position will allow you to have a nice straight, erect spine in this twist. So if you're finding that that's difficult and you feel like you need to drop to your palm, bring a block around behind you and allow yourself to be elevated. Give yourself a little extra space. Inhale here to draw yourself up tall. Exhale, just relaxing into the twist. Once again, not cranking or forcing anything. And then inhaling, hands come up overhead. And exhaling, we'll bring the hands down to heart center. We're going to come into a tabletop now. So if you invited a blanket onto your mat, you might invite it to leave now. Or you could bring that blanket underneath your knees if you have a little extra padding here today. So just come into your tabletop pose here, and we'll just come through a few cat-cows. Just bringing some awareness to the tailbone. Allowing tailbone to be what guides the movement here. We'll do about 5 of these. You can trust yourself here to count these cat-cows on your own. Or maybe not count them. Maybe just focus and bring awareness to all the little tiny movements of the body that are required to make this movement, and what a miracle that is. And when you've completed all the rounds you're going to do, just come into a nice, stable, neutral tabletop. And from here, we're going to come into a little thread the needle. So you can really ground down into that left hand, allowing the fingers to be nice and wide, rotating the weight into that place in between the thumb and the forefinger, pulling the belly button into the spine. And then we'll inhale as we allow the right arm to lift up into a little tabletop twist. And then exhale, threading that right arm underneath the left. Maybe just experiment with doing something a little different today. Perhaps you usually keep your hand in front of your face and you'd like to extend it, or you usually extend your arm and would like to keep it in front of your face. Or maybe you even try a little bind Bringing that supporting arm around behind the back. So find your variation today. Just let your freak flag fly. And then from wherever you have chosen to take this pose, bring that left hand back in front of the face, and we'll press into that left hand again, allowing the right arm to rotate out. Little twist here, and then right arm comes back down to the mat. Taking this through to the other side now, bringing that awareness, that firming down into the right arm will allow the left arm to rise up. And exhale, left arm comes through. Finding your variation of this pose. If you've not brought much awareness to the breath yet during this practice, maybe see if you can begin to just tune in to the sound of your own breath. Just be present. Be here, be in the now. And then allowing that right hand to be in front of the face, we'll press into the mat. Once again, opening that left arm up to the side, little tabletop twist, and exhale. Left hand comes down to the mat. So coming back to our nice stable tabletop now, bring a little awareness to the belly button. First, allowing it to relax completely down towards the mat so that the belly feels soft and heavy. And then drawing that belly button up and in, and feeling what it feels like when the front body is really lifted toward the back body. And notice how when you engage those abdominal muscles, instinctively you also root down into your foundation just a little more. And you can either press into the tops of the feet here or roll the toes under, pressing into the big toes or the ball of the foot here, and just continue drawing that front body to the back body until you bring some lightness into the knees, maybe even lifting the knees up from the floor. Take those nice, slow, deep breaths. If you feel a little shake or a little tremble here, just invite that. That is your life energy just flowing through your body. And on your next exhale, allow that to release, allowing that belly button once again to become soft. You might even feel a gentle curve coming into the low back. And then when you're ready, drawing that front body to the back body, pressing into your foundation, bringing that lightness into the knees, maybe lifting the knees, hovering, tabletop. Find your focal point, your drishti, something maybe a few inches in front of your fingers on the mat. And just hang in here for just a moment. Sometimes on our yoga mats, we can practice with what we do when things get hard. And so if you're feeling that now, just pay attention. What do you do? And then when you're ready, allow that to release. Turn the toes back under if you had them. tucked, and just allow yourself to shift back into child's pose. Couple of deep cleansing breaths here. Balancing out that effort with a little bit of ease. And then allowing that next inhale to just carry you up out of your child's pose, coming back into our tabletop. We'll inhale here, and as we're exhaling, we'll press out through the left toes, allowing the left toes to come to the mat, really pressing out through that left heel, feeling the stretch in the bottom of the foot and the calf. See if you can bring the bend out of your knee here, not necessarily hyper extending that knee back, but just allowing it to be straight. And then pressing into the top of the right foot will allow the left leg to rise up from the mat. Maybe even turning those pinky toes down towards the mat just a little bit, imagining shining the inside of the thigh up towards the ceiling. And noticing how this helps keep the hips in alignment. Again, drawing that front body into the back body, and then extending out through the opposite arm if you like. You don't have to. Just taking a moment here, imagining that you're being pulled apart. Fingertips reaching in one direction, toes and heel reaching in the other. Taking deep breath here. As we're exhaling, we're going to bring the knee and the elbow together. Extend out long as you inhale. Exhale, tucking in knee to elbow. One last time here. You got this. Inhaling. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale out long. And then exhale, bringing the hand and the knee back to the mat. Taking some time here to find your foundation again. And then as you exhale, pressing out through the right toes. This time, right toes are on the mat. Feeling that stretch in the bottom of the right foot and the right calf. And then pressing into the top of the left foot. Allow the right inner thigh to rise up towards the ceiling. Turning those pinky toes down. And seeing if you can bring your weight first evenly into both hands. And then really firming down through that right hand, extending the left arm out long. Settling in here for 3 breaths. And then inhaling out nice and long. And exhale, bringing the left elbow to the right knee. Inhale to extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. And last time here, inhaling to extend. And exhale, bringing the hand and the knee back to the mat. And take a minute here to just make any natural movements that feel good. Maybe you'd like to rotate through the wrists a little, or perhaps you want to drop back into a child's pose for a moment. And then when you're ready, come back into your tabletop, and we'll walk the hands, a couple of handprints out in front, rolling the toes under in the back, shifting up into downward facing dog. And this being our first downward dog of the day, we're not concerned with how bent the knees are here. So just allow them to really bend so that your spine can extend and you can roll that tailbone up towards the ceiling. And once you found that nice extension of the spine, Then you can start pedaling out gently through the feet. And then allow yourself to find some stillness here, allowing the heels to just sink down toward the mat any amount, allowing the belly to extend toward the thighs, and then shifting the gaze forward. We'll sort of take this gentle walk up to the top of the mat, maybe crossing the feet over each other as you walk up. And then we'll find ourselves here in this forward fold. And again, really just allowing the knees to be bent here and allowing the belly to really be in contact with the knees. Sorry, with the top of the thighs. Knees very bent here. Nice big deep inhale and exhale. Just sending the message back to those hamstrings that they can relax and release and lengthen. Another nice big inhale here. And then as we're exhaling, allow yourself to straighten the knees just to any amount, but keeping the belly on the thighs. And then begin to move with the breath here, dropping the hips down as you inhale, exhaling, extending, keeping that belly to thigh connection. Moving with your own breath. Inhaling, bringing the hips down here, really firming down into the feet, allowing some lightness to come into the fingertips. And then on our next inhale, we'll inhale the upper body up to chair pose, keeping those legs nice and bent. And if you'd like to extend the hands out in front here, just plug those shoulders onto the back. Or if you like, you can inhale the arms all the way up overhead. Pinky fingers come to face each other, biceps next to the ears. Inhaling here nice and long. And as we exhale, let's come into a gentle twist. So just taking one hand to the hip, one hand to the outside of the knee. And imagine that you have a block in between the knees here. So as we come into a twist and chair, it's common for the knees to come closer to each other. So see if you can keep a little distance between them. And then inhaling the arms up overhead. We'll exhale, coming into a gentle twist on the other side. Inhaling the arms back out front or overhead. Exhale, hands coming down through heart center, coming all the way back down into our forward fold. And if you have a block or a book handy this morning, you might bring that just to this area in between your feet here. And we're going to plant one hand, left hand on this block. We're going to keep that left knee bent as we open up through the right arm and extend through the right leg. Inhale, reaching out through those fingertips. Exhale, right hand comes down, right knee bends. Take that block or book under the other hand, or you can just also use your fingertips on the floor, so whatever you have in your space today. And then bending into that right knee, inhaling open through the left arm, trying not to hit the cactus next to your yoga mat. Who keeps a cactus next to their yoga mat? Extending through that left knee. Inhaling up through those fingers. Exhale and sweeps down. Move that block out of the way. Allow the knees to bend generously. Take your hands above those bent knees. And then allow the arms to sweep up overhead as you come to standing. And then bringing hands together, coming down through heart center, coming into your Tadasana or Samastitihi, equal standing pose. So let's come to a wide leg stance on the mat now. So turning yourself towards the long edge of your mat, allow your legs to come out wide. And we'll just extend the arms here just to take a look at where the legs are. So if your legs are closer together than your ankles, see if you can bring them out just slightly. I'm sorry, that didn't make any sense. If your legs are closer together than your wrists, you want your wrists and ankles to be almost in alignment here. So if they're closer together, allow them to widen out a little, and if they're a little wider, bring them in. We'll bring the hands down now to the hip crease, rolling the shoulders onto the back, pulling that belly button in. Nice little micro here as we forward into a wide leg forward fold. And once you've come forward as far as you're going to come, just allow your hands to come down to the mat. And if it's difficult to reach down to the floor, you can always use a block or a book to bring the floor to you. Just allow the crown of the head to be relaxed here. And being careful not to hyperextend the knees. So keeping just a little engagement in the thighs, a little bend in the knees. We're going to walk the hands over to one side. And so this might look a little different for everyone, but just walk both hands over, maybe close to one foot. Maybe you can bring a hand to the top of the foot or the outside of the calf. Just deepening that stretch in that leg. You may even feel a little stretch through the shoulder and upper back. And then when you're ready, allow that to release. We'll walk the hands over to the other side. And while you're down here, you might just check in a little with the toes. See what kind of circulation you're having in your toes today. If you're gripping the mat with the toes, pressing them out so that they're white, just allow them to relax, pressing into the ball and heel of the foot rather than gripping with the toes. And then walk the fingertips back to center. We'll inhale up halfway here. Exhale, deepen into this fold just a little more. And then bending the knees just slightly, bringing the hands over those bent knees. We'll inhale up to stand with a flat back. Let's turn out through the right toes. So point those right toes up towards the top of your mat, bringing those left toes in at a little bit of an angle here, and seeing how even just as you do this, the hips naturally turn a little towards the right. So see if you can bring them back to the left. And then inhaling the arms up halfway, we'll bend into that front knee, bringing the knee over the ankle. And just checking in, maybe peeling this knee back just slightly, making sure that you can see the big toe in front of the knee. And we'll watch out here in our warrior two pose, making sure that we are with our bodies staying centered in the now, rather than reaching into the future, the past, really stacking those shoulders over the pelvis. And then dropping that back hand. We'll inhale as we scoop up some air with that front arm, allowing the fingertips to come up overhead as we come into our reverse warrior. Pressing the weight into the outer edges of the feet, continuing to encourage the knee to stack right over the ankle. Inhaling back to warrior two. And we'll exhale as we drop the elbow to the knee, allowing that upper arm to come up over the ear, reaching out, bringing in this nice side body stretch. And if it's part of your practice to bring that supporting hand down, just allow yourself to drop in here wherever you need to be. And then on an inhale, we'll come back to warrior two. And we're going to extend through that front knee, coming into our triangle pose now. So shifting the hips out to the and allowing that hand to drop down anywhere it wants to land, as long as it's not on the knee. And if you like to use a block or a book for your triangle, you can do that now. Really imagine that if you were doing this pose next to a wall, that your shoulder and your hip and the back of your head would all be making contact with that wall. So if you find yourself rolling forward in this pose, see if you can shift your bottom hip forward just a little and bring that top shoulder back. Just any amount here. And then when you're ready, we'll engage everything. Inhaling back up. Exhale, allowing the hands to come down. Feet can come back to parallel. You can wiggle the legs here a little if you like. We'll maybe roll the shoulders. And then we'll come through this on the other side. Just turning those other toes towards the top of the mat now. Right foot comes at a little bit of an angle. Inhaling the arms open wide. Exhale, deepening into that front knee. Shoulders are coming onto the back here. Checking that alignment. Your head over your heart right over your belly button. And then dropping that back hand, scooping up the air with that front hand, reaching those fingertips up and back. Reverse warrior. And if you find yourself holding or gripping with that back hand, just see if you can bring a little awareness, a little softness into the hand. It's just resting here on the leg. Inhaling back to warrior two. And we'll exhale as we sweep that arm up over the ear. Elbow is coming to the knee. And maybe you bring a little lightness into the knee here, or maybe you take, lightness into the elbow, or you take the elbow to the inside of the knee, or perhaps you go ahead and drop that hand down. extended side angle. And then on an inhale, we'll sweep back up, warrior two, still keeping that front knee bent and right over the ankle. And then allowing that knee to extend as we prepare to come into our triangle pose. So shifting the hips out to the side now, really creating some space here, reaching out through those fingertips and dropping the hand down. Coming to your block or your ankle or your thigh here. And you can keep the gaze forward, or if it feels comfortable for your neck, you can extend that gaze up towards the thumb. And sometimes in triangle, the top arm will drift backwards a little. So if you notice that's happening to you, just see if you can bring the wrist right over the shoulder. And then engaging everything. We'll inhale as if someone's pulling us up from this pose. Coming back briefly into warrior two. And then extending through the leg, allowing the feet to come to parallel. We'll take just a moment here to inhale the arms up overhead, really reaching out through the fingertips here. And then allow to come there. One last little strength move for today. Let's take the toes and point them out towards the corners of the mat so the feet are at a 45-degree angle. We'll inhale the arms up overhead, and we're going to come from here into goddess pose. So exhale, allowing the knees to bend, tracking out over those feet, arms coming to cactus pose. And find something to focus on here, bringing the weight into the outsides of the feet. Once again, welcoming that little shake, that little tremble, knowing that is your vital life force, your life energy manifesting itself. So feeling some gratitude for this effort. One more deep breath here. And then inhale, extending out long once again. Fingertips come up overhead. Nice big deep breath. And we're going to come once more into our goddess pose. So inhaling deeply, exhaling back to your goddess. And see if you can spread those collarbones away from each other, really opening through the chest here. Shoulder blades moving onto the back. And if you'd like to lift the heels, just bringing in a little extra element, you can do that now. Bringing in that ujjayi breath, listening to the waves of your own breath, finding some ease even in this effort. One more breath here. And then drop the heels, extend the arms up overhead, allow the feet to come to parallel, hands come back down to the hip crease. Inhale, and then exhale, coming forward, coming into a fold. Maybe patting those quadricep muscles just a little here, giving them a little love, a little thanks for holding us up today. And from here, let's inhale up halfway. I'm going to walk those feet into just a little more than hip distance apart. And if you have that blanket still handy and you'd like to, you can bring the heels up on the edge of the blanket. This can create a little space sometimes to allow garland pose or yogi squat to be a little more accessible. So you can bring those heels up on a blanket if you like. And then as we're exhaling, just bringing the hips down. Elbows come to the insides of the knees. And here, pressing the knees into the elbows and the elbows into the knees. And just take a moment to breathe. There's no need to strain or struggle in this pose if you find it difficult to sink your hips down. You can always support your tailbone with some blocks or books, or even use a chair for this pose. So lots of ways to bring this pose to your body rather than trying to force your body to come into this pose. And fill your lungs all the way to the top here with a nice, beautiful inhale. And then exhaling it all out through the mouth. You can roll forward slightly, placing one hand in front and one hand behind. And we'll come back into a seat. I'm going to move this blanket back off my mat. Actually, I'm going to move this blanket up to the top of my mat. And we'll set up for Dandasana here. So there's lots of reasons why having a blanket for Dandasana can be helpful. For one thing, it allows the pelvis to rotate in a way that is sometimes difficult for us. We spend a lot of time with the pelvis rotated under as we sit in chairs all day. So bringing this blanket underneath the hips can help rotate that pelvis back. And also, oftentimes women have shorter arms than men, and so it can help us reach the floor with the palms. So find your way into your nice Dandasana here. Femur bones coming directly out of the hip sockets, toes pulling back towards the face, calves pressing into the floor. Just feeling the engagement here. And then we can release this staff pose. We'll bring one knee in close to the belly here. So here I have my right knee pulled in. I'm going to open wide with an inhale on my left arm. And then as I'm exhaling, I'm going to wrap that left arm around the right knee and swim those fingertips around behind. And just like our seated twist earlier, coming to the fingertips in the back here will help you keep that spine nice and tall. And if that feels challenging, you can bring the floor to you with a block. And allow yourself to come back to center here. We'll pick up this leg and just give it a little rock, a little love. And then we're going to allow that right ankle to rest on above the left knee, bringing the hands around behind the body, fingertips pointing forward. We'll draw that left leg up, coming into a seated pigeon. And extend that left leg back out long on the floor, letting the right leg come back out next to it, maybe shaking out through the knees here, bringing the left knee into the chest now. Inhaling, open through the right arm. Exhaling, right arm comes around left knee. Left fingertips swim around behind. And just bring some awareness back into those right toes, pulling them back towards the face. Inhaling to make that spine nice and long. And then on your next exhale, coming back to center, we'll pick up that left leg and just hug it in, rock it like a baby just a bit. This is actually bringing some motion into the hip joint and lengthening through the outside of the hip. So it's not just a cute love yourself move, it actually really does have a purpose. Although it's a nice love yourself move. And now bringing the top of the left ankle to the top of the right thigh. We'll take those fingertips around behind and draw the right leg in for a seated pigeon. And then extending that right leg back out long. Taking the left leg back out to meet it. If you are seated up on a blanket, you might shake yourself off of that support now. We'll do one seated forward fold here. So if you like to use a strap for your seated fold, you can bring your strap around the balls of your feet, the shoulders onto the back. And then imagine sinking forward from the belly button here. So see if you can inhale to grow tall, bringing the pelvis up and then lowering that belly button over the legs, trying to bring the belly in contact with the thighs. And you might even allow the knees to bend slightly here to make this a little more accessible, but you should still feel plenty of sensation down the back of the legs. And we'll make this dynamic by inhaling slightly to release and exhaling to deepen. Keeping those shoulders moving towards each other on the back. Inhale to release. Exhale to deepen. A couple of more times with your own breath. And then allow your next inhale to carry you up out of the pose. And we'll shift that strap out to the side if you are using that. And just come on down to the back. Knees into the chest, maybe giving yourself a little massage on that lower back, rolling from side to side a little. And then we'll allow the arms to come open wide, dropping the knees over to one side, any side, taking the gaze over the opposite shoulder. Inhaling the knees back to the chest. Maybe roll out a moment to let the pelvis readjust, and then drop the knees over to the other side, gazing over the other shoulder. And inhaling the knees back to the chest. We'll allow the hands to come in between the knees part. You can bring the peace fingers to those big toes or take the hands to the outsides of the feet, coming into happy baby. Maybe bringing the elbows to the insides of the knees. Allowing the neck to be long and the shoulders relaxed. Remembering that if you experience any difficulty with relaxing the back of the neck here, you can always bring a little support under the head, maybe a block or a folded up blanket. And then when you're ready, allow the big toes to come together and allow yourself to stretch out nice and long here, coming into Shavasana. And do whatever you need to do to make this Shavasana most comfortable for you. It's a little chilly in my space today, so I'm going to cover up with a blanket. And once you've found your way into your Shavasana, take one last nice deep cleansing breath. Allow yourself to sigh it out. And just feel any tension or stress flush back out of the body with that breath. And we have so few opportunities for silence and stillness in our daily lives. So, here at the end of our practice, after bringing in a little effort and ease, just take a few moments to be silent and still. Inhale your arms up overhead, stretch out nice and long. Maybe roll yourself to one side and just allow your head to relax in the support of your arm. And then moving very gently with yourself. When you're ready, you can press yourself back up to a seated position. And if you are feeling a little strain of the winter months, or a little struggle from the rigors of being isolated and divided during this pandemic time, just remember that the effort always becomes ease again. Nothing here is permanent. Nothing stays the same. Spring will come again. We'll all be together again, and things will change again. So if you find yourself struggling a little, just be gentle with yourself. You're doing the best that you can. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice today. And I hope that your yoga follows you off the mat.